So speaking of BMX, I think that's always a fun place to start off with all of our BMX friends. What's just a fun BMX story when you think of Joy Quota or like the ultimate good time riding bikes? Is there anything that comes to mind?
I think one of my favorites, and because Dylan was there, was when we went to the Dirty East Jam when we were like 16. Because this is a good story for you too, Gavin, because it was great because it was the second year that we were going, and everybody had heard about the first year, so everybody's real excited, and so we're talking to everybody, trying to get a big group together, and we've got like something like 13 people that want to go.
Crew.
Yeah, and so we're trying to figure out what vehicle we're going to take because we have no idea what we can fit 13 people into.
Yeah.
And then Gavin's dad is like, "Hey, I'll rent you guys a 12-passenger van, and you can take the van."
Yeah, like they would pay for it, but under my dad's name.
Yeah, because we were all 15 years old, so we couldn't rent a van. 16 years old. And so, sure enough, Gavin's dad rents the van, and then it starts. It's always like, so the contest was in Ohio, which is like a 20-hour drive from here, and it's Saturday. I think it's like Saturday and Sunday. So we drive out on Friday night, we stay there Saturday, and then we leave Sunday afternoon. It's a terrible experience from a driving perspective.
Yeah, I mean, to Ohio is 20 hours.
Yeah, 20-hour drive each way for a day and a half actually at the place. And so so Gavin's dad signs up to provide us the vehicle. Everybody's stoked. Start going around picking everybody up, and we've got 11 of the 13 people, and I'm like, where's Gavin? When are we gonna get Gavin? And AJ's like, Gavin's not coming. I'm like, didn't Gavin's dad rent us the van? He's like, yeah, but Gavin's not able to make it on the trip.
Yeah. I'm still a little sore about that one, to be honest. So
I swear we waved him goodbye.
No, so my dad called me out of high school. He got me out of class, and we had talked that I wasn't gonna be able to make the trip. Long story short, I did really well in school, but I didn't do my homework. Call it whatever you want. I was getting 96 and above on every single test in my chemistry or biology or whatever it was, but I didn't need to take the homework. The homework was insane and took multiple hours of my BMX riding time, and I was still doing. Clearly, I knew the material, so I was like, logically, I don't need to do the homework. The homework is to practice for the test. I'm destroying these tests. I'm good to go. And as a result, I literally had a 61% in this class because everyone else in the class was the opposite. They were getting 50s on their tests, and the only thing that kept them from failing was homework. So homework was worth more. So I had a basically failing grade in this class. And this is as a kid who had never had anything but straight A's through kindergarten through 8th grade and freshman year. Now I'm sophomore year failing this class, and my dad's like, what is going on? This is unacceptable. And I couldn't get the grade up because I wouldn't do the homework. I was just too stubborn. So he was like, you don't get to go on the trip. If you don't get your grade up, I didn't get to go. And then he calls me out of class. It's Friday. I had packed a bag. He didn't know this, but I had packed this bag. He's going to cave and let me go. And he calls me out of class. And I'm like, yeah, this is going to be the best. And I furiously pedal my bike all the way home because I was just down the street. And it's literally just in time for my dad to be like, all right, wave them goodbye. And AJ and Dylan and some people drove off in the van. And I was just like, I literally thought it was a joke. And they literally just never came back to the house. And then I had to go back to class. And I was like, you are the biggest asshole. What a good prank. Yeah, and
did you do your homework after that?
Fuck no. Just out of spite. I think I literally barely passed that class by the end of the year, and I got a 98 on the final. I had some very heated words for that teacher. We argued in front of the class several times. I'm sure I was super polite.
All right, let's get back to that.
Yeah. So anywho, so then we load up the 13 people into the 12-passenger van with, 13 bikes in the back and everybody's stuff. There's literally one of our buddies, Steven, was like, there was no seats left, so he had to sit on the tire hump on the side of the van.
No way.
He literally didn't even get a seat in the van.
It's so funny because I remember anybody that knows this podcast knows I don't remember anything, but I somehow remembered that it was Steven that got the bitch seat.
Oh yeah, no, it's always Steven.
I can't believe it's always Steven. He's like the coolest guy. I feel like
Well, it was something like Steven wasn't going to be able to come on the trip, but it was his birthday. Like, he didn't have the money to come or something, but it was his birthday. So everybody's like, all right, Steven, you can come on the trip. You don't have to pay for gas, like, whatever.
But you're going to ride, bitch.
on the bump. Yeah. And
that's a BMX birthday right there.
Yeah, that's a BMX birthday. And it was, I just remember I just sitting in the van for so long, 20 hours all the way out there.
Wait,
but we did stay an extra day.
We stopped in. So I just watched this video actually really recently, a week or so ago, just because. And we stopped in St. Louis for a while.
Yeah, we had one day in St. Louis.
You did some street riding there, right?
Yeah, remember Nate got out of the car, first thing out of the car, went to go grind that handrail and like smashed his face straight out of the gate. Yeah, but then we rode a lot that day in St. Louis, because then we went to that park, Ramp Riders. Yep. And then we loaded up. Where did we go after St. Louis? And I think then we went to Cincinnati, right? Or Columbus. Because we went to Ray's Mountain Bike Park after the...
That was the most devastating part about hearing your trip. Because I didn't get to go, and I'd always dreamed of going to Ray's. And then Dylan gets back and he's like, dude, we went to Ray's, and I got to ride all the rhythm room and all the cool parts of it. That was I could care less about the contest and all the other stuff. As soon as Dylan told me that you guys got to ride Ray's, I was devastated.
Yeah, I mean, it was for like a 3-day trip. We went to Ramp Riders. We rode the Flow for 2 days for the contest, and then we drove out to Cincinnati to ride Ray's after that. I don't think Cleveland, yeah. And I don't think I've ever been so tired in my life. I remember the last day, like, trying to ride at Ray's, and I just, like, hands couldn't grab the grips. I couldn't pull my brake lever anymore, and it was...
That's why you gotta get rid of it.
Yeah.
That wasn't even That wasn't even the last time riding, though.
No,
we went to Louisville.
Yeah, at 2 o'clock in the morning.
2 o'clock in the morning. This is a 24-hour skate park in Louisville, Kentucky.
That was
and
so
we were the only
funny.
ones there, obviously, at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Except, there were some drunks.
Yeah. You remember the guy did the front flip off of the vert ramp?
Yeah. A 30-foot vert ramp. And he's just standing there drunk and just like front flips into it. And
I'm
just
assuming
just
like a somersault. He it was the craziest thing. He did a somersault and somehow perfectly like spaced it so his feet wound up in the vert ramp so he could go straight down the ramp.
It was unbelievable.
Well, it was funny because
insane.
we were filming the whole trip, but nobody was. I don't think we were filming at that point, and he did it. He just like did it on his own out on the side of the park.
Like,
he wasn't
hey guys,
doing this
look.
joke.
He was just like, I'm feeling it.
Oh my God, that was the most amazing thing. Is that in the video?
To be honest, I didn't finish it.
Yeah.
I hope it is.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I should go back and...
We'll have to watch that. Is that on YouTube?
It is, yeah.
Oh, nice.
If you want a real good time, go back and just look up some gimmick BMX YouTube videos. It is one of my favorite things to do. Get real amped up before a ride.
Maybe we'll find some for this video. We'll link to it.
It gets me real, like, of all of the videos I could watch to get pumped up, of like Brandon Lupas, like cash rolling a 90-foot dirt jump or whatever people are doing.
Why would that get you pumped up?
That's
as impressive as it is. That doesn't.
It's not something that we're gonna do.
Watching us like learn how to X up in real time, I'm just like, that's the best. That was the dream.
Oh man, but yeah, so many things about that trip.
There's some more. I think there's some more stories on this.
Trey broke someone's back.
Oh, that was Steven too. That was the funniest thing. Because that was just after I had just fought AJ because he stepped on my air mattress. So everybody's I was like, I told him, I was like, don't step on my air mattress. And of course, at this point, we'd ridden nonstop. Nobody had any sleep. And I was like,
probably
AJ,
food
just don't step on my air mattress. And then he goes and he steps on my air mattress to get on the bed. And so like got up and like just started punching him. It was so funny.
Because this is 13 people in one hotel room, I believe.
Yeah. No, we couldn't afford more than one room. So we just 13 people in one hotel room. That was the craziest. And you remember the hotel right next to the skate park was like that, the Knights Inn or whatever.
Everybody, you go to this contest and everybody stays at the Knights Inn. At least back then, they probably it burned to the ground. No, they don't allow it.
Turned into a meth lab now.
Yeah. But and so it's just havoc because this is not like X Games. This is like 10, 5 levels below X Games.
Yeah,
Like, this
a
is
lot
the
of people having
rattiest-
fun.
The rowdiest crew you could possibly.
It was all that Swamp Fest
Gather.
energy before it had a place to go.
Yeah, exactly. It was the Swamp Fest before the Swamp Fest.
Yeah.
In Ohio.
Yeah,
And
in Ohio.
So I'm trying to think. Like we turned people's cars around or something. Like there was definitely
Yeah,
a
we
story
lifted
of,
up
like,
that guy's
we
car.
lifted up a guy's car and like flipped it around.
Yeah, because there's
That's
so
awesome.
many people. Well, I remember everybody's like playing craps in the parking lot. Like people are gambling in the parking lot. Everybody's wasted. I watched this dude punch a gutter off the side of the building. Just like, he's like, watch this. Punch it off the building. Like, oh my God.
Cool, I guess.
Yeah, right. It was complete
And then-
madness.
Yeah. So Stephen, you probably remember.
Oh,
that story.
so that
Go back to
so that
Stephen
was
getting body
because
slammed.
because you guys had Trey on recently, right?
We had Trey and Viv on. We did not go into these type of stories.
Yeah, so that was funny though
Trey's
because
an intense fellow.
yeah, so it was right after me and AJ fought over the air mattress, and I beat him up for sure, and then
AJ will dispute this.
yeah we'll see how that goes, and
Rematch,
so
2019.
I've learned a
I
lot
wouldn't-
since
I
then.
wouldn't fuck with AJ.
Yeah.
So,
No, it was
last
funny.
case.
It was good fun. But then I don't know what happened, but Trey and Steven were kind of like they were like going bodies or whatever it was back then when you were like play fighting.
Yeah.
And then I think what happened is Steven got Trey in a chokehold or something like that. And Trey was just kind of playing, and then Steven got Trey in a chokehold and like really latched on because Trey's a lot bigger dude, you know. Steven was pretty proud of himself. But then
And there was a lot of testosterone. 13 dudes
13
in that
dudes in
tiny of a
one,
space. It's
yeah.
all competitive.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then so Trey just like picks him up, picks him up off the hotel room bed and turns him to the side and just slams him to the ground.
Not the bed, the ground.
The ground, yeah. Like,
you have the
took him
video.
off
We
the
have to
bed.
link
yeah,
to that.
it's though this is like flip phone age
Yeah.
video of like super pixelated.
Clearly filmed on a razor.
Yeah, I'll try and pull it up. It was crazy.
And if I remember right, which I don't know if I do, but it just went. Everyone was silent after
Yeah.
that. It wasn't like, oh shit. It was just like, no.
He just killed
Yeah,
Steven.
the
Yeah.
tone changed for sure. And Steven just stayed there. I don't think he.
No, dude, I think it really messed up his back.
Yeah, he
Trey-
still talks about that.
Trey's
today.
an intense fella. Like, I remember one time we were playing around at a trampoline fun place, and he wasn't paying attention, and I just, like, casually pushed him into a foam pit. And I didn't know that he was real upset about it for whatever reason. I'm looking the other way, bouncing, having a good time. And then mid-bounce, he just picks me up, same thing, just, like, Undertaker's me to the back of my neck. I bite my lip. I'm, like, bleeding, and I'm just like, what the fuck, Trey? And he's like, yo, dude, we're even. You got me, I got you. And I'm like, we are not even, dude.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, Trey, you don't mess with Trey. He'll come in 110% every time.
Yep. You just don't really realize how much Trey's holding back until he gets serious. That's the
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So anywho, that was a fun thing. The other thing, Dylan, you remember when we had to get the hotel the second or the third night?
Right, because it was not a motel.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get 13 people into one room, and it was not a motel where you have your own door. It was a hotel, and we were on whatever third, fourth floor, whatever. And so yeah, you couldn't just walk 13 people in the
Yeah.
front door because it's like 12 o'clock at night, and there's like
We
be
we
so
thought there'd be
obvious.
people in the hotel, but there wasn't. We Dylan and I walked in to get the hotel room because we were the only white kids. That was what they
Yes!
said. They're like,
I do
you
not
guys are
remember
the
that
only white
scene.
kids. You go get the hotel room. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
That's
oh,
hysterical.
really?
Good point.
So we went in there and we get the hotel room. They ask us how many people. We're like, oh, there'll be 4 of us.
Yeah.
and then we go back in the van and we're like, okay, we gotta go grab our stuff or whatever. We go back to the van. We're like, all right, there's literally no way. You have to walk past the
There
front
was
desk
no
to
side
get in.
entrance or anything.
Yes, and we're like, all right, we're gonna go check it out. So then we go inside. It was the funniest. I don't know if you remember this, but we go inside. looking around for back door, can't find a back door. And so finally I'm like maybe there's got to be like a fire door or something. So we go down the like emergency escape, like the stair route. Yeah. And then so I'm like, oh, nice, back door. Open the door and the fire alarm goes off. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. Shut the door and the fire alarm turns off. And I'm like, oh, all right. So then I call them and I'm like, all right, guys, you see the door around the side? Everybody line up outside the fire alarm door. And so it was funny because I remember at that point I was like, all right, I'm going to go take a shower because I know that there'll be no hot water as soon as there'll be no shower open.
That's a Banghart move.
Yeah.
He's a strategic man.
That's right. I'm
Brian
like,
Banghart.
Somebody else is going to go open the door. I'm going to go take a shower. And I remember because I was like mid-shower and I hear the fire alarm go off and then I just hear the steps. Do, 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 do. Everybody running up the 3 stories. It was so funny. And then the next morning, I don't remember what hotel or where we were. I just remember the next morning walking out past the guy with all 13 of us just like giving the wave after we had the continental breakfast on the way out of the hotel room. That was crazy. Yeah.
I feel like that is the version of like most people, or I've talked to a lot of couples where they're like, oh, our favorite time was like, we were 20 and we'd just gotten married and we were broke and we had nothing, but that was the funnest time, even though they're now like with like established careers and et cetera, et cetera. I look back at those times of BMX riding with you guys. Those were the times. Like I said, I watch a gimmick BMX video and I'm like, I remember learning no-footed X-ups and doing it over my first box jump way more vividly than the first time I tail whipped something.
Yeah.
You know, like that first little bit of momentum you create in anything is so exciting and new.
It was such a funny thing because it's like trying to get 13 people to go and you're like, all right, it's going to cost each of you $45 for this 4-day trip. You saved
exactly $45.
And you're like, dude, I don't know if I can make it. I've only got $30.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to try and get that money together so that we can go on the trip. Like,
well, yeah, like I this one I do remember when we were at the Louisville Park. And it was like towards the end of this trip, but like I had spent, I mean, like you said, we have no money. I spent all my money on a like one loaf of white bread and a stack of turkey. That was my meals. Like
doing full.
I think that's what everybody did. Everybody had their own loaf of bread. Like we went to the store on the first day. Everybody got their own loaf of bread and then their one meat or peanut butter and jelly or whatever, and that's you ate that 3 times a day.
Exactly. Yeah, but I still had a decent, a 2-inch stack of turkey left, and this was my this was my meal for the rest of the trip, whether a day and a half, whatever. And earlier in the day, like going to Louisville, I honestly accidentally kicked over AJ's bag of Skittles. He had bought the world's largest bag of Skittles, a gallon-sized bag of Skittles, and I accidentally tipped it over and knocked them all over the place in the van and did not apologize.
That's a very Dylan Fall move.
And did not apologize.
Especially back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, this is when I didn't say 2 words to anybody about it.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure you actually felt sorry, and you're like, I feel like it's not worth risking the interaction.
Right. It's not like I spilled the entire bag. I spilled a lot. I don't know. Whatever. Either way. So AJ is like just the king of like
throwing a massive tantrum.
Shots fired, here. AJ, come at us.
No, that's not what I was going to say. I don't know if he threw a tantrum or not. I'm sure, obviously, he got pissed. But then he remembered it. Like, he held that grudge until we got to the Louisville Park, and then he meets this stray cat.
I don't even remember this.
And he decides to feed the entire 2-inch stack of lunch meat to this stray cat.
Yeah.
That's revenge.
And he got his revenge, and I was so pissed that like I had no meal for the rest of the trip because it got fed.
All the money's gone.
I've never wanted to kill an animal in my entire life. I wanted to kill that cat so bad.
Yeah.
I was like hunting it down, just gonna kick it in the face. I did not. I didn't
When
find
Dylan got back, that's all he would tell us about the trip. He was so angry about it. We're like, dude, how was Ohio? And he's like, fuck Ohio. I lost my lunch
so
meat.
Silly now because it was $5 for the lunch meat, but when you have
when that was
zero.
all the $5 you had.
No, I remember like I got pepperoni and cheese because I always got pepperoni when I was a kid, and like I remember being so sick of pepperoni and cheese because when you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner is a pepperoni sandwich because we can't afford to go out. Like I remember trading Freddie for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich one day and that was like the smartest thing we did was like barter between our sandwiches. But if my pepperoni got eaten, like what do you do then? Then you eat bread?
Oh, I totally remember those trips. Like so many road trips we took with Dylan and JT and Andrew were literally, if you ran out of money, like you were out. None of us had credit cards.
Yeah, nobody's helping you.
I didn't share a bank account with a parent. Like they couldn't have even wired me funds. Like there was nothing.
Right, you had the cash in your pocket. And
Exactly.
That was what you had.
Like if something went wrong, you were just stuck. You didn't even have a cell phone. You were just like, all right, I'm in a new state, no money, no food. How do I get home?
Yeah.
Oh man,
that was crazy. So BMX trip, that's probably the most like BMX trip that I remember. It was nuts. The whole experience was nuts. The fact that we went. The year before that, I remember we went and we took this guy's van, like super nice guy, decided he'd let us use his van, and he drove, but then we hit a deer on the way home.
what?
Yeah, like Sunday, it was like Sunday afternoon because we got the 20-hour drive home. We're like a little ways home in Illinois, and we hit a deer, and I'm like, I have to be at class on Monday morning at 7:30. Like, we've got to figure this out. Yeah, right. Like my mom's not gonna call me in. She said I have to be there. I have to be there.
Yeah, my dad didn't even let me go on the trip. I know the feeling.
Yeah.